What will you do if you can't find a position? Though his words hit on her hidden insecurity, she attempted to answer lightly. Keep applying. I'll have to find some kind of work in the meanwhile. Once I'm no longer a student, I can't live on campus anymore, but apartments are expensive in the city. Maybe I could work at the coffee shop. Their new barista isn't doing a very good job. Nick laughed. What a funny idea. Mademoiselle le professeur working in a cafe. I know you'll find something when the time is right, chérie. She laughed too, reacting to his kind words and trying not to dwell on her professional insecurity. Thanks, Nick. So, Breanne, he continued, how did you get your name? I assume you didn't have one when you were found. His tone held none of the hesitancy people usually exhibited when talking about her unusual past. Gratitude welled up in her that at least with Nick, there would be no reason to pretend she felt ashamed for events that had taken place long before she had any awareness. What to her felt like a happy childhood often aroused pity in others. Apparently, Nick has decided not to judge my past as pitiful. Thank you, Lord. No name, you're right, she replied thoughtfully. According to what I've been told, I couldn't have been more than a couple of days old. Her recollections turned back to her childhood as she relayed a snippet of information. The 2 foster mothers who ran the girls' home chose my first name, but we were all called Smith. It saved time. Was it a good place? She could hear the hint of concern in his voice. No, don't turn to sympathy now. Unusual doesn't automatically mean bad. She hastened to reassure him. It was. The ladies who cared for us loved us. They were very kind, and the girls, well, we were all like sisters. I'm still close to one in particular. Michelle? He guessed. No, I met Michelle at the university. We applied for the resident assistant program at the same time. She's got parents. My sister's name is Jemiah. She moved after she got her degree to a town about 2 hours away, but we talk often and we get together whenever we can. She's engaged to a nice guy named Darren. Nick stopped at a red light and glanced in her direction. Is it difficult for girls who grow up in such a way to make permanent connections? She struggled to define the look in his eyes and the tone of his voice. Do I dare to hope for the reason he wants to know about this? Can he be as infatuated as I am? She gave his question serious thought as the light changed and he turned left. It was for me. Some of the girls married really young, hoping to create a family to replace what they missed out on. The rest of us have held back, but the desire to be close to someone is part of human nature, and it's impossible to resist forever. She broke off suddenly, realizing how much she'd revealed. Nick gave her an encouraging glance. A man who is willing to take on one of us would have to be very brave and strong and patient. Please be all those things, Nick. D'accord, I'll remember. He took Breanne's hand and kissed her knuckles. So you say you've dated before? But never seriously, she admitted. Never with any real intentions in mind, and never for any length of time. A date or 2 was it. Interesting. I wonder what he finds interesting about that. What about you? The French have a certain reputation in America. How accurate is it? She asked him in a sassy tone, trying to temper the intensity. He answered her flippant question thoughtfully. I've had serious relationships in the past. I wish I could say my daughter's mother was one of them, but honestly, it was just a fling. I remember the French professors I had over the years. All the native speakers pronounced the H in honestly. A little part of her squealed in delight over this, charmed by the proof of his foreignness, even as she forced herself to focus on the content of the conversation. Don't be a man-whore, Nick. Do you fling often? Only the one time, he exhaled. It turned out not to be a great idea. A man thinks a fling was a bad idea? Oh, this just gets better and better. Why? Because I got hurt, he replied. She didn't want a more permanent connection. I did. Now I have to share my daughter with her, and we don't have a congenial connection anymore. It's awkward. After that, I became a lot more cautious. I decided I would have to take time, be in a relationship, before I let things get intense. His openness pleased her, but it also raised another question. Until now? Oui. I hope this doesn't go horribly wrong.